All right, let's see how we can generate random numbers. So what we need to do in order to generate random numbers is we need to do two includes, and we'll learn soon enough what includes are, but basically what it is it's telling the C++ compiler where it can find code to do things for us that somebody else has already written. And so those things are called libraries, and it's not necessarily important for us right now, except that we have to include those libraries or tell C++ compiler, this is where you need to look to access some code that I want to utilize that somebody else has written for me to be able to put in some, to create some random numbers. So I don't have to do it myself. Somebody has already done it. It's written inside of this code, and I want to use it in my application. And so we're going to include those libraries. That's what that's all about. We have the using namespace std. We've already talked about that. And so this is, and at this point, it doesn't really matter what the code is doing or how it's working. Just know that this is what you would type in to make it happen. So I'm going to do sran. I should have just copied and pasted it in so we had it ahead of time. 0. So I'm going to put in a 0 there. And semicolon, I need int v1 equals rand, and then my modulus operator, and then 101. So this generates a random number between 0 and 100. So not including the 101, up to 100. So I need to put the semicolon, all right? What else do I need to do? I'm going to see out random number, just so I know it's working, and then we'll put v1. All right, so let's just run that to start with and see how it works. And so we'll just run it, and somewhere I will get my console window, which is on another window, and it looks like it randomly chose 56. Run it one more time, and this time it randomly chose 73. So you can see that it's working. So now I'm going to take this just one step further, and I'm going to create a while loop just for practice. And I'm going to say while, and I'm going to say we'll keep track of a rand total. I have to initialize that variable, is less than 100. And so my idea is that we're going to keep track of, we're going to sum up all of the random numbers, and then when it's less than 1,000 or 100, maybe I better make it a little bit larger, we'll say 1,000. When rand total is less than 1,000 in total, then we're going to break out of this loop. So that's what this is doing. So I don't have a need to declare my variable, int rand total. And I'm going to start off with it equaling to 0. And so now what we'll do is v1 is containing our random number. So we're going to create a accumulator. So rand total plus equals whatever was in there, add v1 to it. And so very simply then, let me just make sure we understand. So we've declared our variables. This is just what's called seeding a time. It doesn't matter. Just know that I only need to do it once. Only need it once. So that's why I didn't put it in the loop. I only need this to happen one time. Once it happened the one time, then what we do is we're going to generate a random number between 0 and 100, and that's going to go into this variable. We're going to out that variable so we can see it on our console. And then we're going to add that variable to our total. So once that total, then we're going to keep looping until that total accumulates to be less than as long as it's less than, let's make it as soon as it's greater than 1,000, we'll break up. It's always going to be less. All right. Oh no, that was right. Well, sorry. Okay, well, it's less than, that makes sense. All right, so as long as it's less than 1,000, we'll keep looping. Once it's greater than 1,000, then we will loop out, and then we will see out our total. Our total was, and then we will get our rand total. All right, so let's run this and see if it works. So somewhere, there's my debugger over there. And so in a very poorly formatted way, random number 21, random number 69, random number 4, you can see that it's generating all of these random numbers. And once it accumulated, looks like we hit right at 1,000. That seems pretty peculiar, but apparently we did. So once our total was 1,000, let me test that, and we're going to run it again just to see if that's in fact what we got. I would think that we could possibly get over 1,000. Yep, that time we did. So that was 1,009. So at first it seemed kind of peculiar. That's pretty odd that all those random numbers equaled exactly 1,000. So I ran it again just to make sure that that wasn't a fluke. But apparently that was just kind of an anomaly. So I'm going to try this again. And you can see that we're getting different random numbers each time, and then we're getting different totals. So that is in fact working.